How we doing, everyone? Mitch here with my review on Logic Pro X. I know this is a little bit late, but give me a break. I wanted to spend some time here really looking into Logic Pro X and so that I can give you a review that is as unbiased as possible and less of an initial thoughts of it and more of like me spending time with it and telling you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So let's get right into it, shall we? Also, before we start here, this video is going to be more about me talking and less about me doing show and tell. So don't get mad if I'm just talking. So you're warned. So first things first, the audio here in Logic Pro X, infinitely better than Logic Pro 9. There's a bigger, wider, fuller sound here than previously in 9. And honestly, guys, there is a noticeable difference. I pulled up a Logic Pro 9 and a Logic Pro X template of the same song, and there is a noticeable difference between the sound of the two workstations. And historically, Logic Pro 9 has been labeled a flat digital audio workstation, and I completely agree with the people who say that. You have to do some serious stuff inside of 9 to get a very full sound compared to stuff that you could create in other digital audio workstations of the same price range. And so finally we got a Logic version that's up to par with the other workstations, and it just sounds big and just finally somewhere where we can create some great music, great sounding professional music. Let me just say that. So that is probably the biggest upgrade that I think. It's not really put out there. Not very many people say it in the new features and whatever, but it's one of my biggest things I can say about it. Next, the interface improves the workflow and just the general usability of it. A lot of people have been groaning about the interface. And honestly, when I opened it up, I was as well. But spend some time with it. Just get into it, and after working with it a little while, I absolutely love it. Everything's a click away. You can toggle through all of the things. This is going to be all of the controls of the tracks in your arrange window. Just a toggle away, actually a shortcut away, and everything's just right here. So that you can view and just make sure that everything is going on. And workflow is just streamlined. I've found that I'm creating music faster here in X as compared to Logic Pro 9. And I mean, if you're an artist, you get these ideas, you get these moments of brilliance that are gone in a blink of an eye. You need to get those down as quickly as possible. So this is a big deal. And people say this looks like GarageBand. Honestly, guys, I don't think so. There's a lot going on here at this front page. And all of these options are everything that you can find in Logic Pro 9 is here plus others. If you want to take something away from here, that is what I can say that you should take away, because everything that you want is here plus more. And it's just a click away, and nothing like GarageBand, nothing like it. So huge thing there with the interface. Next, the included sample library is leaps and bounds better than Logic Pro 9. If someone gave me a track to listen to and were like, hey, check this out, I want to know what your thoughts on it are, and I'd listen to it, and I can definitely hear if they are using an Ultra Beat kit or not. And I'd say, are you using an Ultra Beat kit? Yes. Stop it. Go look for an external sample library that you can use. But honestly, not anymore. I'm going to be showing people particular sample packs inside of Logic now and not locating people outside of it. There's just so much more you can do here. Actually, let me just play this track for you here. Italo Disco and Massive Waves are two just out of the box things that you come with Logic, and let's just hear what they sound like. So I mean, there's work to be done here, but even the beat sounds bigger than anything right out of the box that you can create inside of Logic Pro 9. And the Massive Waves that I'm using here is actually using the new Arpeggiator. Also, by the way, guys, you can roll over the plugins and instruments, and you can get quick access to whatever you want to do with it. So awesome. So that's my 2 cents there. All right, so the sample library is leaps and bounds better than Logic Pro 9. Another huge thing for people who are beginners, someone who's not going to take this, someone who's just playing around. They're going to be able to use this better, create better sounding tracks. So that's at. Next, the shortcuts are very similar to Logic Pro 9. If you are one person like myself who have spent massive amounts of time in Logic Pro 9, the transition into X is an easy one because all of, or most of, the shortcuts are the exact same. Your escape menu is going to look the exact same. If you open up any of the sample editors, the piano roll, your escape menu is going to be the same. All the functions, everything is going to be right here, and it's very similar to Logic Pro X, or 9, sorry. It's just everything's kind of moved around so that it's easier to access, and I mean it's just incredible. There's like little to no overlap between the amount of time spent learning this new interface. And so, I mean, if you're wondering about how long it's going to take you to actually get down and get to a point where you're as familiar with it as Logic Pro 9, the answer to that is not very long at all. So next is going to be track stacks. Huge thing. This is going to radically change how people produce their tracks, because now we can submix as we create the music. We can create a track, push it to a track stack, and it's going to be in what we can call a submix or a drum kit. Like this drum kit, Italo Disco, is a track stack. There has a kick, snare, hi-hat, percussion, synth bass, everything in it. If we wanted to go in and automate all these things, we can. And then we can close it up into a single track afterwards. We can do that with kits, and then we can also, like I've said, create submixes of multiple tracks. No longer are we just having a single track per instrument. We can group them together logically. This is something that I've actually really wanted, and finally we can be able to do it, and I'm honestly loving it. Next, I've made a tutorial over it, is the Flex Pitch. Guys, this program is $200, and Flex Pitch alone is worth that. In Logic Pro 9, we've had to go elsewhere for programs like that, as in Melodyne, Antares Autotune, and those programs are very, very expensive. Now it's here bundled with Logic. Granted, it's not going to be as in-depth as those plugins are. There's still going to be a place for them, but for someone who just wants to go in and fix some vocals or just sharpen something up easily, it can easily be done. And I say this is a huge benefit to Logic and the future of it as well. Next is going to be the drummer. A lot of people have been complaining about Ultra Beat not changing, and I am one of those people. I was really hoping for a new Ultra Beat. There are new samples in it, like I've been saying, but no new Ultra Beat. What has been replaced and what's new is something called a drummer, and that's just going to be an instrument down here, and you can let me just open it. This is what the interface looks like. So I'm just going to put this out there. Alternative rock, metal, anything that's a rock band-esque band that's trying to produce, you didn't have very many options for samples. And finally now we can actually get some legitimate samples into the mix so that we can start creating some great music. When we wanted to replace an audio track with MIDI samples, now we have options that are all embedded here inside of Logic Pro X, and like I've said, we don't have to look elsewhere for samples. And this interface is actually incredible. You can create, you can choose your different drums in the kit. You can tune, dampen, and add gain to anything you want. If we select the toms, we can even edit the low, mid, and high separately, or all of them together. And actually, all this is, you can automate all of this stuff. So if we go in here and access the drum kit, everything in here, snare, hi-hat, everything's separated and can be automated separately. And this is just, I mean, this is huge for someone who just wants to create like alternative music. I'm one of those people, alternative and metal. This is big news for us. So that's another thing that I would say is a huge advantage to Logic Pro X. Next and finally, but not least, definitely not least, is the Arpeggiator and MIDI FX. If we go into our mixer, we can see that there's a new row called MIDI FX, and the Arpeggiator is on a couple of these tracks that I have here right now. Absolutely incredible. Actually, the Arpeggiator freaking amazing. The arpeggiator in Logic Pro 9 was hidden behind multiple layers. It was hard to set up. You had to actually wire it up, and it was just a pain in the butt. I really never wanted to use it. So much so that I went and actually got an external plugin that acts as an arpeggiator, actually almost exactly like this program that we have now. And finally we have it, and I'm sure I'm going to be doing tutorials over this because this is a very big plugin for us Logic Pro users. Speaking of new things here in the MIDI effects, we have the chord trigger, modifier, modulator, note repeater, randomizer, scripter, transposer, velocity, and processor. I can make a nursery rhyme out of that. There are a lot of awesome things that we can do now. Actually, I am a computer science nerd. I'm a computer and electrical engineer. And guys, we can now create our own effects through JavaScript. Mind-boggling. I knew this is handled in other digital audio workstations, but I didn't think for a second Apple was going to add something like this, and I am extremely pleased. So be looking forward to some computer science / Logic Pro X tutorials, because those are coming up. Woohoo! All right, that's really all I have to say. I really need to shut up, but honestly, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're still on the fence about if you should buy Logic Pro X or not, $200, a ton of great new software. Get it. There's nothing more I can say about it. Everyone, thanks for watching. From now on, actually, I'm going to be creating tutorials specifically on the new things inside of Logic Pro X. And I'll be kind of keeping up with the Logic Pro 9 tutorials as well. So everyone, thanks for watching. I will be seeing you very soon, I am sure. Peace out.